I want you to do it with the tongue, baby. You're sorry. Young man. Crazy, you can stop. This is not for you, you fucking know it. Stop your shit. Until you can use that body pad, you're not coming up here. And continuing to give me eyes like that is just going to piss me off. You're better to joke worry about coming back up. Because you need to stop staring. Iron your shit. So, it's going to be a short one this morning. I've only got a couple stories. I'm not sure whether that's good or a bad thing. Let's get started. That's the song that's been stuck in my head the last few days. You know. That was more than 4 hours ago. It was last night. That shit dropped.
Let's get another incompetent each day by Donald Trump. His communications director was reposting things like this. The full spectrum of dominance. Could we perhaps just get bare minimum competence? Yet again, there was another incident involving airplanes. 3 in 3 weeks. A Delta Airlines and a Japan Airlines plane collided on the ground in Seattle while they were taxiing. Fortunately, nobody was injured. We're seeing what happens when you destroy basic government funds.
Whoa. Excuse me? We had planes collide while taxiing. No. I'm sorry, if what we had was DEI, give it the fuck back, you piece of shit. Seriously. Because we were a lot fucking safer. We were a lot better off all the way around. Fucking a plane collision while taxiing on the fucking runway. Is this something we've had happen since starting up all this bullshit? Because that was never something we heard about. We heard about air traffic accidents before, but not when they were taxiing on the runway. What the fuck? Thankfully, like I said, in this event, no one is hurt. Thankfully, it's going to be taxiing. 9 times out of 10, it's slower speed. Ooh. Yeah, no. I'm not flying while these motherfuckers are in office.
But don't worry, folks, because Donald Trump is out selling things on his social media platform like bulletproof Trump glasses. Raise a toast to President Trump. I guess that's how he's lending his name, image, and likeness to these days. Also, Donald Trump's posting this. It's a strange post. I want Iran to be great and successful country, but one that cannot have a nuclear weapon. Reports that the United States, working in conjunction with Israel, is going to blow Iran into smithereens. He puts this in caps. Are greatly exaggerated. I would much prefer a verified nuclear peace agreement, like the one that previously existed that you pulled America out of.
Thank you.
To say, which will let Iran peacefully grow and prosper. Folks, yesterday Donald Trump, or 2 days before he wrote that, was in the Oval Office literally talking about blowing Iran up into smithereens. So this is kind of Donald Trump's talk when he says, we're going to annex Canada. Oh, we made a great deal. Hey, Canada, will you do the same deal you did for Biden? And can I pretend that's a deal? It all are, so it sounds all official. Or when Donald Trump goes to President Claudia Sheinbaum of Mexico and goes, you know, it would be great. We put 10,000 Mexican troops at the border, and President Sheinbaum's like, okay. Considering there were 15,000 troops at the border, so Donald Trump wanted 5,000 less troops because he's so incompetent and so he doesn't pay attention to details. Anyway, this is what Donald Trump said about Iran 2 days ago. Play this clip.
Other people you recall the total confederation of state that
And folks, mass protests are now taking place across the country.
Good.
They're growing in size. We're seeing those big protests take place, whether it was in Washington, D.C., whether it's in Michigan, whether it's in Colorado, and there are 4 different reasons, but overall for the corruption of Donald Trump, we've seen protests against ICE, we've seen protests against Elon Musk and Donald.
To all of you who have been, good job. Keep it up. You're doing good. For those of you who are in the position I am, where you're spreading the information and making sure that we're all informed, good job. Keep it up. We sat on our hands. Now we can't. That time's over. Every one of us can do something. Me, it's help give information. Give a little bit of insight. I don't have a way to get anywhere to protest. More or less get back. Protesting where I'm currently at, as a panel would be a bad idea. Closest place I can go to protest, singing on the Portland. Both of which are at least an hour away. Sorry, I had a big chunk of loose flaking skin on my left there. But anyway, yeah. So keep it up. You guys are doing good. The more involved, the better.
Trump's threats to democracy controversy, and I think those are going to grow in size, especially as Elon Musk, an unelected billionaire, keeps on taunting we the people even more. One of the things Elon Musk is now sending his team to do is to search the Medicare agency. He wants to now look at Medicare. They've gone into the Department of Labor. They've gone into the Department of Treasury. They've gutted USAID. They're going to get rid of the Department of Education. And now they're looking to go into Medicare. And Elon Musk is saying that's where the big money fraud is happening, in Medicare, he says. Also, by the way, Elon Musk's Doge staffers have entered NOAA headquarters. NOAA headquarters, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in Silver Spring.
Fuck, that's not good. This is the administration that controls our air quality. But back to these fucking Medicare, it's not good either. Really not good. So, to be clear, I'm seeing the foundation of those of us on disability losing it. And if that's the case, things are going to get a lot more difficult. Just having Medicare now is going to be rough. This is not good.
Maryland, quote, they apparently just sort of walked past security and said, get out of my way. And they're looking for access to the IT systems as they have in other agencies. They will have access to the entire computer system, a lot of which is confidential, and a lot of private interests want to get their hands.
Now, to be clear, they've already done this with the Treasury. And I'm going to say it now because I feel I probably need to. There's ever a reason that there's multiple days I'm off stream with no comment to you guys, I might suggest y'all send a search bar. Because this is what I enjoy doing. If I'm not doing it, there's something wrong. If I'm not doing it or keeping you guys informed, there's something wrong. So if I ever disappear, it's not because I want to. I've disappeared a few times while still being streaming. It's not streaming, I disappeared from. It's shitty people. Well, not all people are shitty. I can't say that. Didn't disappear from them either, though. I actually said goodbye and everything. That wouldn't count. Those people are awesome.
On that NOAA data, and apparently now we just give it to Elon Musk now, like we give your tax records and your social security information and your medical records. And again, I don't care what political party you're from, this should piss you the hell off that billionaires are just getting access to your data. And Trump's like, here, let it.
Didn't piss you off, just piss you off, should scare the shit out of you. And I'm saying that in a light form, but it really shouldn't be. It really should scare the shit out of you that millionaires are getting a hold of your personal information. Nothing good can come of this.
And take it over. And let me just talk about leveling Gaza. Then let me talk about conquering Canada and Mexico and Greenland and Panama. Let me talk about all of these things, create great instability in the world. And then let's, while I distract you with all of that, let Elon Musk take your data and a bunch of 19 and 22-year-olds working for Elon Musk. Now, you all remember when they were pitching Doge? And I wonder why this is one of the reasons that Nick Ramaswamy was pushed out or left or whatever happened to the thing. But they said, this is just going to be some outside thing that gives advice to Congress occasionally, and there'll be a subcommittee run by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now Elon Musk and his team walk into government agencies and take our data, we the people? Are you kidding me? You know, loving this 5-year movie.
Yep.
As Julia Davis, she does a great job monitoring Russia, cackling Putin pals, celebrate Trump's simply sensational first week of U.S. self-destruction, and the self-destruction continues. Donald Trump gutting the CIA, as well as the FBI counterterrorism division. Elon Musk, Donald Trump have offered purportedly buyouts to get rid of, get this, everyone in the CIA. Get rid of the entire CIA. Get rid of the entire counterterrorism division of the FBI. Get rid of the FAA. Get rid of all these federal workers. Destroy the Department of Education. Destroy the Department of Labor. Destroy your Medicare. Destroy all of it. That's what they are doing. Oh, and then remember, yesterday I reported out that the United States Postal Service announced a temporary suspension of international package acceptance of inbound parcels from China and Hong Kong until further notice. And then there was further notice. Several hours later, broke back down and said, okay, we're letting it out. We're letting it in. Blow up to smithereens. Don't blow up to smithereens. Annex it. How about a fentanyl czar? Chaotic, crazy, incompetent, idiotic. And our allies no longer are allies. Canada has said bye-bye. Most people in Europe say bye-bye. And they say, look, to those Americans who are with Donald Trump, we feel bad for you, but you turned your back on us. America, you're not.
No. That is not the message I'm hearing from out and about. The message I'm hearing from out and about is anti-Trump and everybody who voted for him. Breaking Canada, as far as American whiskey goes, only selling blue states whiskey. No red states. And they're doing that with several other products as well. Canada is not stocking red state products. Y'all supporting Trump need to realize how bad you fucked up. The rest of the world won't sell your shit. They won't even take it to sell it. You can't pay them to take it. Let that sink into you, red state folks. You can't pay other countries to take your products. Because you fucked up. Now, it's not everybody in red states. There's plenty of people that vote blue in red states. And those people, yeah, the rest of the world is apologizing to you guys. They certainly are. They're also apologizing to those who voted blue. So they've made it clear. We don't want to harm you guys. You guys didn't do nothing to us. Them, on the other hand, they did. And we got a problem with that. So we ain't gonna sell their shit. And you know what? I don't blame them. If I had a shop right now, anything I knew that came from red state wouldn't be sold. I'd actually probably put it in the back dumpster. And depending on what I was doing, tell those local homeless people, hey, go get it. Because it may be trash, but even trash can be enjoyable. No, if I was going to get to the local homeless, I wouldn't go to the dumpster. I'd go beside the dumpster and box it. It'd be easier to carry. So I've been homeless. I know how that goes. I've done my dumpster diving. Thankfully, I was prepared for it from scavenging old computer parts when I was younger.
Now, it's all over the world right now. We're isolated right now in all world. You got people in Canada also both angry and mocking the United States of America and Donald Trump. As Charlie Angus, powerful member of Parliament, has said, and he's been someone who's been a powerful voice, I should say, in Parliament for pro-Canada. I love you, Canada. I never doubted that we would stand up to the thugs. Now let's keep it going. Here you have Canadians saying, we buy Canadians. The boycott against America continues. Donald Trump's communication director, who I talked about at the outset of this video, is also making posts like this about Jasmine Queen.
Okay. I'm getting a little annoyed with him at the moment because he's not giving full information here. It's not anti-America. That's the thing. It's just anti-Trump. Canada is still selling American products from blue states. Canada still communicates and trades with blue states. If you're a Trump supporter in a blue state trading with Canada right now, I suggest you do yourself a favor and keep your mouth shut. I know it's easier said than done, but you want to keep your trade going? Sit down, shut up, and keep trading. So I tell you right now, you open your mouth about liking Trump to anyone outside this country, and any bond with them you have is gone. Unless they're China or Russia. And even then, there's a good portion of their people that don't support what their leaders do. So, let's just be real.
This is the actual communications director of the White House, Stephen Chuck. Jasmine Croco shit wants men to play in women's sports. At some point, these losers are doing this out of spite. Then he posts, Tim Walz is a cuck. That's the communication director of the White House. Like, how ridiculous can you get right there? Donald Trump was asked about leveling Gaza, his proposal. He goes, everybody loves it. Everybody loves it. Fact check. Everybody in the Middle East now is even more ready to go to war.
Yep.
You've now turned the entire world into an even bigger conflict.
Yep.
You claimed you wanted to stop World War III. You've now made America the idiotic bad guys in World War.
I'm going to quote Cyndi Lauper on this one. Turn it into a powder keg and it's giving off sparks. It really is. We are on the cusp of a very dangerous situation for everyone in the world, not just America. Those of you on the left, or those of us on the left who kept saying that he's quoting Hitler, he sounds like Hitler, blah, blah, it's because we fucking paid attention. We paid attention in high school history. when most of us even sat there and went, why is this section so small? Just from going over this, we can tell there's more to this. There's a lot of stuff left out here. Oh wait, that's called critical thinking. And guess what? We found out when we kept digging. It was so much worse. What they teach you in school is a very watered down version of the events that actually took place. It is very mellowed out and brought to a point where it can be understandable by kids without traumatizing them. And I get it. But some things need to be shown for what they are. If we want the world to remember a trauma of our past, we need to make sure that it's shown, not just talked about. Otherwise, we get stupid shit like this. And none of us, well, none of us mind want this.
War 3, as a result of you provoking war with literally every country at this point, other than maybe Russia and North Korea. Pretty much provoking wars with everybody and saying you're committing American troops everywhere. And newsflash, Jordan, Egypt, Saudi Arabia have all condemned that language, and you've just made the Middle East even more unstable than it is. Just so you see Donald Trump saying that, here's what he said.
Time for him.
Cheap from CDPs.
Middle East even more unstable than it is. Just so you see Donald Trump saying that, here's what he said.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, the choice.
A lot of people talking about this. Everybody loves it, but this is just not the right time. But we'll all maybe do something later. This is a very important and, in my opinion, solemn occasion. So I don't really want to talk about other subjects.
By the way, remember this guy, Sean Strickland, the MMA fighter? Remember all these MMA fighters? Like, we love Donald Trump. Mass deportations, yeah. 1776, let's go, let's go. Remember that? Remember, here's what he remember this video of them together. Let's go. Here, play this video. Well, now people like Sean Strickland are out there saying, the American people want nothing to do with Gaza. They need to rebuild America first. America first. This isn't America first. What are you doing, Donald? And by the way, the Arab Americans for Trump, which may as well have been called, I won't even go there, but the Arab Americans for Trump is now gone. They've now changed their name to be called Arab Americans for Peace. Well, how about Arab Americans for, I don't know, selling out Arab Americans to Donald Trump? I mean, how horrific and ridiculous can you supporting Donald Trump? Arab Americans, which we believe that with the Muslim ban during Trump administration number 1, with Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner talking about building the condos, with Benjamin Netanyahu's relationship with Donald Trump, visiting Mar-a-Lago, y'all were Arab Americans for Trump. Now, let's check in with what about the Venezuelans? Let's check in with the, how are my Venezuelans in South Florida doing for Trump? Play the video.
At a press conference in Doral Monday, Venezuelan Americans denounced the Trump administration and South Florida Republicans. More than they used us
No, you weren't betrayed. You were told that this was happening when you didn't listen.
But during the campaign, the election officials from the Republican Party, they actually told us that he was not going to touch the documented people.
Oh, wait a minute. Donald Trump has revoked your TPS, your temporary protected status. Oh, and wait a minute. Donald Trump has cut deals with the dictator of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro, to send you back to Maduro to torture and kill you? Oh, my God. Look, I know
It's almost like we said it was going to happen.
other issues, but I know this one's a tough one for you, that he's sending you back to Maduro to be tortured. How do you weigh that? I don't know. Former President Biden, who stood up to Maduro.
Okay. That was a little too far. That was a little too far. These people are still scared and hurting. Sarcasm is one thing. But you're straight mocking? No. That's not okay. I don't care if it's small mock or not. They're realizing shit's going on. They're pulling their heads out of their butts. Don't mock them.
For your TPS, who was fighting for you, but when he was sleepy, he was too sleepy. Joe for you, all the Fox sleepy Joe. That's what did it for you. That he was a confident and led with a quiet confidence at 80, 81 years old that strengthened our alliances and stood up to dictators. He didn't like that. You want the drama, the chaos, the revocation of your TPS status. It pains me. It pains me. I don't even want to say I'm sorry. Even people who...
You should, because that was fucked up and rude. You know as well as I do, that's not the reason people voted for Trump. Bad.
voted for Trump. I don't want to see people in harm or in pain, even if they voted for Trump. But it's like, wake the hell up.
But you just mocked them because they were.
What are you doing? Get out of your rage algorithm and get into reality, please. Get out of your rage algorithm.
You don't have room to speak at the moment.
Prices ain't going down. Housing ain't becoming more affordable. Peace in Ukraine didn't happen in 24 hours. Peace around the world, Donald Trump's threatened war with everybody. Our economy not booming anymore like it was. Do you feel safe? Do you feel...
Okay. So, you're doing this off of a group of people who are now basically refugees because of Trump. They're trying to figure out if they're about to go back to hell or not. And you're sitting here wanting to mock and pile all this shit on. They're at the point they've realized this already. At this point, you're not only being rude, condescending, and snarky, but you're beating a dead horse.
Feel safe? I mean, at the most basic level, where our government is now controlled by a team of Elon Musk's 19, 22-year-olds, and professionals are gutting, they're firing the FBI.
To be clear why that's bad, is because it's quite literally the same thing as, let's say you did something that you were told not to do, and it was going to have a certain result. And then it happens. It's one thing to just sit there and go, I told you so, to the other person. It's another thing to go and go through it all again. If you sit there and go through the entire shit again, the whole consequential scenario, this person already knows you're just being a dick. You're not offending. That is not venting. That is not controlling your emotions and just letting it the fuck out. When people come to realizations, we need to have understanding. It's understandable to be pissed off at them still, frustrated and grumpy. But to sit here and mock them when they come to the understanding, the realization? No. That makes us no better than Trump. And it's just going to drive people away.
The CIA getting rid of law enforcement, dropping the A6ers, and you feel like at a basic level, shouldn't government be keeping we the people safe? Shouldn't you feel safe when you get on a plane? Shouldn't you feel safe when you get on a railroad? Shouldn't you get safe when you get on a train? Shouldn't you be safe when you eat food to make sure it doesn't have salmonella? Shouldn't you be safe? Feel safe? Do you think you feel safe under this regime, this incompetent, idiotic, idiocracy, authoritarian regime? Here's what we gotta do. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're already right there at 4 million. Then I want to shoot past the 5 million. Then I want to get
right.
Then I want to have this platform that we rally as mass protests take place across the country as we start to
Ben. Disappointed in you. There's differences. You went too far.
This is Democracy Watch. Mark, we have some major news here. There's a hearing happening today on Doge's access to the Treasury. This has obviously been an issue that has gripped the entire country for good reason. We shouldn't have random unelected bureaucrats with no oversight having access to all of our private, secure information, including social security numbers. I'm going to put a tweet up here on the screen from Kyle Cheney from Politico. Judge Kolar Kotelly seems prepared to block Musk's 2 Doge allies detailed to Treasury from sharing any Treasury records with Musk or others outside the department. She wants a filing from DOJ by tonight to see if the government will agree to that plan. So can you give an overview of what we're looking at right now and whether this ruling, even against Doge, will actually be successful at stopping him from doing whatever he wants to do? And he hasn't seemed to be prevented from, nothing has seemed to prevent him from doing what he wants in the past.
Yeah, so this is a very important lawsuit brought by a number of labor unions, as you say, trying to protect the privacy rights.
I'm going to be clear. The reason why Elon and his cronies were able to push it through into places like the Treasury, all that good shit, is because other than security guards, no one's allowed to have guns. And then, even at that point, I'm not sure they have permission for rules, or even have a set of rules of engagement at that point. If you're not security. Which, of course, security is going to be some higher level clearance people. Not necessarily too high, but higher. More than you or me. So. Yeah. Keep that in mind. So these people couldn't draw a sidearm and be like, no, you're not coming in here. And Elon and his people could literally just muscle their way in. Fun.
Individuals and others who are in these databases, these massive databases in the federal government, in the Treasury Department. And, Brian, you and I, talk occasionally on there. You once said to me that you're getting flooded with people who are worried that their information is being accessed. So are we in democracy. And I understand why, right? I mean, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of Americans count on the federal government in one form or another to send them either Social Security checks or disability checks, and they're in this database. I mean, all of us, frankly, are in this database. And they're concerned, what does it mean that not unelected bureaucrats, but really, I mean, these are people, some of them apparently are out of high school, are rummaging around these big databases, and we are to assume that they both have.
Okay. Fair credit where it's due. 19 and 20-year-olds can have the knowledge to be working on databases of this size and do it properly. This is not saying they had authorization. This is not saying it should be happening, so on and so forth. It's just to say that they are not technically adept enough is not right. To say that they shouldn't have that information or access to that information certainly is. That's certainly right.
Good intentions, but also right that they know what they're doing, that they don't inadvertently share this information or corrupt this data in a way that means people don't get their money, or that there's security risks for people having access to it. So this lawsuit was filed, very important lawsuit. We're seeing a lot of really important litigation being filed. So kudos here to this one, saying, look, this is a real problem. And the judge, Judge Clark, can tell you, I've appeared before. She's a very serious and thoughtful judge. I think she was appointed by President Obama, if I recall. She is raising the right question, which is, what is the access that has been granted? And who is it shared? And she is focused in on this particular court order on that second question, which is, all right, so you got these people detailed to the Treasury Department. That's like, still put a footnote. We ought to at some point, when crisis is averted, we ought to come back to that. But all right, but where does it get shared? And there is no reason, if they are detailed to the Department of Treasury, it should leave the Department of Treasury. Yeah. And so the question will be, what will the federal government do? What will the Department of Justice do? And my prediction is they are going to handle it. They're going to handle it. Because it goes to your point. Why does it feel like Donald Trump issued these illegal executive orders, you have busting doing all this stuff, and it feels like a game of catch. Judge says no, and then they kind of take it in a slightly different direction. Yeah, it doesn't seem like anything changes. And that is because the Department of Justice lawyers are hedging, and they are thinking that they can game the system, and they're going to be on the wrong end of the judge. And maybe in this case, one of the cases where they will have made a big mistake, and they will land themselves in a whole lot of trouble for that judge.
But what happens in the event?
So to break that down for those of us on a gamer level, he's trying to mitigate. He's trying to mitigate the system. His lawyers are trying to mitigate the system. So, to all of you out there, you know what I'm referring to, and know how not okay that is in almost any game scenario, with few exceptions. This is another one of those not exceptional. Not an exception. So, yeah, no, be not happy about it. It's something to not be happy about.
That they're already doing what the judge is going to preclude them from doing. Like it seems like what they're doing is moving as quick as they can and then asking, not for permission, but for forgiveness after the fact. So isn't the toothpaste out of the tube at this point? Like that?
And I'm going to be clear on this. This is an old conservative way of thinking. One that many of us younger generations have said, yeah, no, that's not okay. I know I heard it from old generations, y'all probably did too. It's better to ask for forgiveness later than permission. And the way I look at it is like, no, that's not accurate. It's easier the outcomes and results of this are not so... No. You're causing yourself more trouble and you're being foolish. This line of thinking leads to lack of critical thinking and lack of caring for other people's emotions, feelings. Again, heard this from every conservative I've met. I spent time around. Maybe that's one of the big differences. There's a fundamental philosophy there. It would make sense. No, it's one I sure as hell don't support. It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. No. It's easier. It lets you off the hook. It's actually a form of fucking manipulation. You fucking sick, pathetic losers. You're so scared to ask for permission and get a no that you're gonna fucking use manipulation tactics to get what you want. That's pathetic.
They aren't if they're going right now and getting the information that they want to get, gaining access to everything without asking anybody, but just kind of shoehorning their way in. Aren't we litigating it?
Let me put in here a phrase that might be a little bit more understandable. To go on the lines and live your life of it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission, you're a fucking beta male. You are the lowest of the low males. For real. If you've got that way of thinking and wondering why you're single, congratulations, you found out why. I ain't gonna play games on shit like that with y'all. That fundamental way of thinking is not okay. It's not an okay way to live your life. It's a good way to burn bridges and screw your relationships and keep you, well, an incel. I mean, that has been the one thing fundamentally that's been so different. Is I've never agreed with that philosophy. Because it doesn't take into account other people's feelings. It doesn't care for other people. It's selfish, self-centered, and arrogant. Maybe that really is a philosophy that's different. What? Because honestly, it fits into place. I'll do a little bit more research on that one.
Issue that we're already a few steps behind on.
So yes and no. So look, I have been a proponent of litigation to protect democracy. And I've been a big proponent of the litigation that you're seeing
Yes, you kidding.
right now. You know, these cases, I'm not a lawyer, but they're being well
Yeah,
by a
that
lot of
would be
different
shit.
groups, and kudos to the folks who are breaking them.
No,
But
I don't
also
feel like it.
pointed out
Oh,
that
they do still go.
the problem with some of these cases is what you said, is that plug one hole
Yes, you kidding.
in the dike that's leaking water, and it just pops up someplace else, right? The legislature passes another law. They move to a different agency. They switch personnel. It's no longer these two people, it's that 200 people. It's no longer Doge is no longer an advisory committee. It's taking over an agency.
Mm,
You know, you and I did a very important issues an order that says, the OMB directive has to be blocked. They retract the directive, and then what happens? The White House press secretary issues a tweet that says, "Oh yeah, well, it's still in force." So they have to go back to it. So look, I understand that frustration, but the reason why I keep emphasizing the role of the federal judges here and these lawyers in the Department of Justice is that at some point, one or more of these federal judges is going to lose their patience. They're going to feel like what you just said is happening is being done on purpose. It's not that that the horse is out of the barn, but that essentially the Department of Justice lawyers are running interference. And at that point, you will see these judges come down like a ton of bricks, either on the defendant agencies or on the lawyers before them. And I got to tell you, you and I talk, and others have said, we need the good lawyers at the Department of Justice not to leave. Yeah, but we also need the good lawyers at the Department of Justice to be straight with the judges. And, I'm not going to say that any one lawyer in one case has not been straight, but some of the answers they seem to be giving are either heavily qualified or are calculated in a way to enable what you're talking about. But I think we're going to see an end of that soon.
Oh, I want to game this out a little bit. You mentioned that the judges would eventually get frustrated if they feel like they're being played and come down like a ton of bricks. In a normal instance of litigation, that would be intensive territory, right? But what happens? What really is the consequence for the federal government at the hands of a judge who may be getting frustrated? Of a judge who may be getting frustrated.
Yeah, so I want to make this part of a broader point, which is that Donald Trump abused the judicial system when he was a kid, right? He abused the criminal justice system. He was able to game it. And
By the way, that's what's informing a lot of my thoughts about the inability of the justice system to actually stand up about it.
yeah, and so look, I was a critic of the way Eric Garland and his lawyers handled it. I thought they were sufficiently aggressive, and I was, by the way, critical of the judges, who I thought were too deferential. But here, this situation is slightly different. On the one hand, judges are trained, not literally trained, but mentally trained, to give government lawyers that. The assumption is that when a government lawyer comes in and makes a representation, that they are doing so in good faith and that they are. I think we need judges to stop. Honestly, we need judges to not do that in some of the cases where they were giving that benefit to Donald Trump's legal team because they were representing a former president. But that definitely has to stop. But if that happens, where the judges lose the confidence that they are being told the truth by these lawyers, what they can do is, number one, they can hold the lawyers. Number two, they can hold the government agency. And for a lawyer to be held in contempt also threatens their bar. So, there are parts of this that start to become quite personal to the people who are caught in the crossfire, and then you will start to see the lawyers back away from some of these assertions. But the other thing that judges, and this I think is really critical, and we saw this in the spending cases, not in the first order, not in the second court's order, but in the third order, where the judge issued a very broad, right? No longer was the judge just going to issue a ban that was covering OMB, no longer was it just covering certain agency spending, but it was a government-wide covered order that said whether it is an OMB directive or coming from the White House or is in any form or fashion trying to freeze the spending, it violates, it is prohibited. So you're going to start to see judges expand the way in which they issue their orders to head off this kinds of data. But Judge Kohler can tell you is a very smart woman. She is a very, I think, probably understands what's going on here. And so I would expect if the Department of Justice comes back with anything other than an absolute yes, ma'am, you're going to see a very aggressive one.
Well, look, you have said from the very beginning that the courts are going to play an especially important role in defending democracy right now. And that's something that you cover better than anybody else with Democracy.it, which is the news outlet you founded, focused on everything voting elections. It is an amazing resource, and I use it on a daily basis. Highly recommend for anybody watching right now. Please make sure to sign up if you are not yet signed up. I'll put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. I'm Brian Tuck.
Okay. So that's all I got for today. Badly. There wasn't much that came up yesterday. I was actually really surprised. But I might create a few polls. I've been running for a little bit. I've got an interesting feeling. I'm trying to figure out for a while, not just me, but people in lines of psychology and other places, what's the big separation? Where is it at? I think I might have stumbled on it. Could very well be wrong, and I kind of hope I am. I don't know, I might not do it. At least not yet. Might ask people to come in. What they think of the video, what it's saying. See where things land there. No, I'm not surprised. I still got my rollout info. Water pipe. Okay, as far as that goes. One minute ago. No, it's from Brad.
Here's the cool part about 69 against the little person. People assume that, like, oh, you won't be lined up or whatever. But if you look, and if you cut to the wide shot, I'm directing the podcast right now. Look, Ian Stafford sitting at the exact same height. So it's like my torso is average size.
Mm-hmm.
So everything lines up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you won't be able to, while doing the 69, grab the bottom of my foot.
That bothers you might help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, now you're trying to, like, get the old school TV antenna. That one, okay, good.
I was picturing also just what if I could like spin you just like a full windmill. That would feel good for you. A full 360 spin with talking about.
I'm so glad you talk the way you do, because
I feel the skills.
here's the cool part about 69.
And I'm standing there and I'm like,
Oh. Leave it, Brad. Meow. Alright. I'm going to end the stream and probably start a midday show. I gotta get pups in. Hi, Tap Tap. What's up? She's like, I got a little stuck. Okay, I'll go to sleep now, though. I might, though, because something to do is uninstall that. I'll be back in a little bit.